Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing very well. So I just watched Rainey's Black Bottom. Let's talk about it. So Rainey's Black Bottom is directed by George C. Wolfe and stars Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman. Now this was Chadwick Boseman's final live action performance, apart from his final vocal performance, which will be seen in next year's What If series by Marvel Studios. But watching this film was definitely a bittersweet experience, because knowing the fact that this amazing, incredibly talented actor is no longer with us, it really just did taint my entire experience of the film. Unfortunately, it had nothing to do with the quality of the film overall, which we'll go through in my review, but just the sadness, just the tragedy surrounding his death, and the fact that he is just no longer with us and no longer there to bask in the glory of his performance. Because quite frankly, I can say it up front now, his performance in this film is phenomenal, truly fabulous, truly amazing. Before we dive into that, just a friendly little reminder that if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and make sure you turn on your notifications so that you can be told when I upload next. Right, without further ado, let's get into this one. Now, like I already said, Chadwick Boseman's performance in this role is absolutely incredible. He portrays this young musician called Levy who has these huge dreams. Like, he dreams of having his own band and playing his music for all to hear, and this music is new, it's rejuvenated, it adds energy to the blues that Rainey helped found, and it just kicks it up a notch. It's great for dancing. Like, he sees a whole vision for his music and how he can influence the entire genre that, again, Rainey pioneered. And so to see this character just full of hope, and in almost a desperate way, like, it's not hope coming out of naivete, but rather forcing it, because he knows that this is his chance. He has a chance here to really make something of himself, and he wants to grasp it with both hands. And so he's doing the most. Like, he is doing the extracurricular, he's doing the further reading in order to make sure that he can leave an impression with Rainey's fans, and indeed with Rainey herself. But she doesn't take it too well. She doesn't take too well to someone stealing her spotlight, both figuratively and literally, in the beginning sequence of the film. And so you see this huge tension between these two characters, with someone who's part of the old guard, who pioneered this genre of music and who knows the way that she likes to do things. She likes to be in control of the situation, which we'll get into later on. And so she's not going to take anything from anyone. She is not going to be told how to sing her own songs, and she's not going to be told how to, mix up and change up this genre of music that she knows so well. And so of course she's constantly butting heads with Levy, who sees this new future, this new vision for this music, one that he can very much be at the center of and really make himself shine in. And I have to say that when it comes to this film, it's very much led by the excellence of the performances of both Chadwick Boseman and of course Viola Davis. She's an Academy Award winner. What did we expect? What did we expect? You see Viola Davis in yet another August Wilson production, with Denzel Washington producing this film as opposed to starring in it, as he did in Fences alongside Viola. But she shines just as bright here, because she doesn't know how to do anything else. I truly believe at this point Viola doesn't know how to give a bad performance. So whether she's in an ABC TV series like How to Get Away with Murder, or in a film just exploring the huge personality of one of the pioneers of blues music, she's gonna perform, she's going to deliver every single time. I would expect nothing less, and she definitely does exactly that. First of all, the hair, makeup, costuming transforms her. They did an excellent job, especially with this character, because it is truly transformative. You feel the grease of her makeup on her skin. Like, you can feel the stickiness, you can feel how it's probably been on for days and she hasn't washed it off, and she's just left it there for performances, because the makeup of this time was already exaggerative, especially if you were a stage performer, so that audiences could see you from further away. But the fact that it's just kind of melting off of her face with that Chicago heat, it just adds to the kind of almost grotesqueness of this character. And I feel like it perfectly fits in with her personality, in terms of her just not caring about what anyone thinks of her. She's fully aware of how people perceive her, both black and white alike. I mean, you see that sequence where she's in that hotel that's populated by affluent black people, and they're looking at her, they're side-eyeing her big time. She doesn't care. She continues on her way. Then she makes it to the studio where she has to interact with this white producer, and again, what you see is what you get. Like, she doesn't have time to be sugarcoating things, to be minding her manners, to be, you know, tiptoeing around the white man in order to please him, in order to do dances for him, as Chadwick Boseman's character is accused of doing by the other band members. None of that. Absolutely none of that. She's done with the politics. What she's interested in is getting exactly what she wants and deserves for her talent and for her legendary status in this genre, and then getting the hell out of there. Getting the hell out of there with her paycheck. That's literally all she cares about, because she sees through the hypocrisy. She sees through the politics. She sees through all of it. And I love the fact that her costuming, her makeup, her hair, it just kind of reflects perfectly on this character, as well as looking very similar to the original person, Rainey herself. Now, Chadwick Boseman and Viola Davis aren't the only ones that give great performances in this film. We also have Coleman Domingo, who portrays the character of Cutler, who has several interactions with Chadwick Boseman's Levy, and they're constantly butting heads as well because of their differences in opinions and differences in outlooks. Cutler is very much part of the old guard. He understands Rainey at this point. He's been doing this for a very long time, and he also understands that what she wants, she will get by any means necessary. Like, she's not messing around. She's not there to please others, and he understands that. And so when Levy comes in with these big ideas and these big dreams and, you know, ideas on how to mix up Rainey's music, he's very aware of what her reaction will be, and he tries to warn him of that, but unfortunately he doesn't heed that warning until much later. But I think Cutler plays a huge role in interacting with Levy and trying to make him see the reality of the situation, because at times it seems like his head is in the clouds, until of course they learn more about the character and they realize that actually he's not quite as naive as he appears to be, because of his previous unfortunate traumatic life experiences. I also very much enjoyed Glyn Turman as Toledo here. He was absolutely phenomenal at being this kind of, you know, father figure amongst the other bandmates, because he is the oldest, but at the same time he's kind of mocked, he's kind of ridiculed by the younger generation, but you get a sense that he also has that wisdom to him. Like, he understands what he's talking about, but no one else does. But what he's saying has a message there. There is an underlying message there that is wise. It's just that no one wants to heed that wisdom, especially not Levy, whose head is in the clouds, and ultimately he's got these big dreams that he wants to see through, and that's what he's focused on. Now, at the end of the film, where we do get the murdering of Toledo by Levy, I had some mixed feelings on this, truly, because I, for one, felt like it came out of nowhere. I felt like it came out of absolutely nowhere. I completely understood the build-up of Levy's anger, and the fact that after his interaction with the producer, which we'll talk about in a second, he was just so deflated. Like, all of his dreams that he had, the vision that he had for his future, just came crashing down at once. And so that tiny interaction that he had with Toledo just set off a match. Like, I could completely understand that. But the fact that he stabbed him and he died and no one else reacted, that's what really annoyed me as well, is that it was one thing for Levy to kill Toledo, fine. Like, I feel like it was a bit of an escalation that went out of hand, but fine, like, that's the point. But it's the fact that no one else around him interacted. Like, no one wanted to get involved, and so now a man is dead in the middle of the room and we have a delayed reaction, a delayed response. Why is no one jumping to action? I don't understand. Between those two men, no one could take the knife away from him? Really? Like, I was really upset by this, because I felt like Toledo was a character that I really found endearing and really likable. So the fact that he was just killed with no justice, no one sticking up for him, no one preventing this from happening, really didn't sit right with me. And also, another aspect of the film that I didn't really enjoy was the interactions between Levy and that girl that Rainey has kind of hanging around her. It is heavily implied that Rainey is a queer character. She seems to have some sort of romantic relationship with this girl. Whether those romantic feelings are returned is unclear. Perhaps this girl is just using Rainey for her fame and her money to buy her gifts or whatnot, or maybe she does have genuine feelings for her. It doesn't seem like it though, because she very quickly ends up jumping on the Levy train and ends up having sex with him during their studio recording session. But that whole dynamic, like, I could have done without. Maybe this is more fleshed out in the August Wilson play, I don't know, but I felt like it was kind of superfluous. I think it was just there to add to the tension between Ma Rainey and Levy, because, you know, clearly she was very jealous about the attention that the girl was giving Levy, so she didn't really like their interactions, on top of the fact that he was trying to steal the spotlight from her on her stage. So I think it was just there to add that element to it, but she never really finds out about them having sex in that room, so I don't feel like that scene was necessary, and I don't feel like that character was overly necessary either. In addition to the incredible performances in this film, I would also say that my favorite part of it has to be the inclusion of this socio-political commentary, and especially the commentary where it concerns, you know, black artists in the early 20th century and how they were exploited for their works and their talents. The ending of this film is so powerful to me. The monologue that Viola Davis has in the middle of this film, where she discusses how she is fully aware that she is just a voice, she is just a commodity to the white producers. Like, they don't care about her, they don't really want to see to all of her needs, they barely even get her what she asked for. Like, she asked for a Coca-Cola, they couldn't even deliver on that. It's all this mess about expenses and blah blah blah, even though she's going to be earning them a ton of money with her records, and they don't even have the courtesy to give her a drink before she performs, before she uses the voice that they actually want her for. And I think that entire speech brilliantly illustrated exactly what the character's position was and why she was acting the way that she was as well, because at that point in time it did sometimes feel like it was a bit unreasonable, like, why is she being this way, why is she being so difficult? But at the end of the day, that was the only power that she had over them, the fact that she had what they wanted, her voice and her music. Without that, she had no power. Without that, she was yet another black woman to be discriminated against. But because she had something that they were after, they were bending over backwards to make sure that they could cater to her, and she wanted it to be the case. She wanted that to be the position that she was in, so that she could feel a semblance of power in an industry that really didn't care about her or her people. So I feel like everything was justified after that. I completely understood her perspective, and not only that, but it is further illustrated in a more practical sense when we see the contrast between the way that Ma Rainey was treated by those white producers because of the way that she treated them, versus the way that Levy ended up being treated, with that white producer ending up buying his songs for a mere $5 each, and then clearly at the very end he's recording them with a white band with white talent, where he would earn a ton of money, way more than he paid for that music. This was so heartbreaking, and I completely clocked on, like, when Levy was giving him the songs, I was like, do not give away your music, do not give away your talent, because they will exploit you, they will use you for all that you're worth, and they will not give you the money that you deserve. So I already knew where it was headed, but to see it play out in that scene, and then to see that white band afterwards playing his music, and because they're a white band, they would be able to target it towards a white audience, earning them even more money with no royalties for Levy, who wrote that music. Just so anger inducing, truly. Now, whilst I very much enjoyed the exploration of this theme in this film, I would have to say that I had a few qualms, a few questions about pretty much everything else in terms of the story. I didn't like the way that the story was depicted here. I felt like it felt very stage-like, it felt very theatre-like, which makes sense because it's based off of the August Wilson play. But I do think that there were a lot of missed opportunities here, because I don't think that it took full advantage of the fact that this was a film rather than a play, because with a different medium comes a whole range of different advantages. For example, we could have seen far more Ma Rainey performances here. I mean, this is a very short film, so it's not like they didn't have time to do this. And also, we could have gotten more of a look into Levy's backstory, as opposed to, you know, just standing around in the room and him speaking. Although Chadwick Boseman's performance was very powerful, I would have liked to see some of the flashbacks, and that's something that you can't really do with a stage performance, because because you're just confined to the stage itself, but you don't have such limitations with a film. So I wish they would have fully utilized all of the benefits of having a film as opposed to a play, in terms of, you know, jumping to different areas and being able to tell the backstories of the characters as they describe them. They could still give that incredible performance, but we would be able to see it as opposed to it just being told to us. I also felt like some of the stories that were kind of included in the interactions between the bandmates specifically felt a little bit contrived. They were kind of relevant to what was going on, but it seemed as though it was more of a like, okay, this is the moment where this character says this, so we just have to insert it here. It didn't always feel coherent. It didn't always feel natural. Sometimes it just felt very forced because that's what's supposed to happen in the play, so this is where we're going to insert it in the film. So with all of that being said, I'm going to be giving Ma Rainey's Black Bottom a 7.5 out of 10. So that's it from me. Now that I told you guys my thoughts on Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, it's such a funny name. It's time for you guys to let me know what you thought of this film down in the comments below. Please be sure to subscribe to catch new videos coming up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!